Christ was always going out into the cities, into the towns, into the streets. It wasn't going to the castles, going to the mansions. It was being with the people. And I think for us, reaching out to our community, reaching out to our neighbors is following Christ's example of being intentional with everybody that's around you. We lived in our former house in Atlanta for 8 years, and we could probably name on one hand the number of people that we knew personally in our neighborhood.
God really convicted me when we moved here that during that entire time, we didn't get to know any of our neighbors. And moving to a new place, I just felt like that was kind of a fresh start for me. And I really felt God calling us to be intentional about the way that we reach out to our neighbors. So we determined that when we moved here that we just wanted to be front yard neighbors.
Our prayer was, Lord, allow us to meet people in our community, become friends with them, so that way ultimately we can share the gospel.
Something that kind of started me on a path to wanting to be intentional with our neighbors was a mission trip that I took to India. I saw how every home that we walked in, we were offered food and tea every time, without exception. And it just really made me realize that food is a universal language, and it's a great way to kind of get your foot in the door, so to speak, with people who you might not otherwise talk to. That was a turning point for me because that's a really easy way to have a connection with somebody.
Our calling is to live out our faith 7 days a week in our community, places of work, everything that we do in our lives, just to live out our faith and to share Christ with others.
We're called to be the church. So, having people over into our home, inviting people over for dinner, and building those relationships, that's kind of the way that Jesus commanded us to make disciples. We feel that it's important to share your own story about how, Jesus changed your life, because people can argue with you about the church, people can argue theology, but no one can argue what God has done in my life or how He's changed me. And that's why I love, having people over so I can share my story with them.